Okay, major changes. So this is a part of dealing with scratch building. So this was all done, pretty much complete. You guys saw it. Legs are in. He was standing up, but way too big. I mean, this thing was massive. When I put the Gorkanaut next to it, the legs and the height and the top of the egg. I mean, it was way taller than the Gorkanaut. I mean, the thing was almost Stompa size. So I, I'll throw up some pictures here so that you guys can see. Again, I'll throw up a few so you guys can see the scale. I took some pictures of the Gorkanaut along with my already converted Nemesis Dread Knight, which is going to be a Mega Dread, and this Mega Dread with its legs on. And you can see that the scales are like, yeah, it's not right. Anyway, long story short, this is what we went with. So instead of the legs being on the bottom, I moved my structure that I built on the bottom, measured from the edge up to a center line using this center line here that's already on the egg, and I moved it up an inch to that center point right there. So from here to here, moved it up an inch, and now I'm going to cut that box out. Basically, I took this, located that box, right, and I'm just going to cut that out now. So now that we also know what's underneath here, all we have to do is we just plunge the knife in, the X-Acto blade, and we just slowly work it up the plastic. Okay, so something like that. So the legs are wider. I can push this in even farther, make it so the legs aren't as wide. We may do that. Take this 25 millimeter, actually cut a circle and bury it so that then the legs will go all the way in. So again, that's an option. But just wanted to show you, this is some of the stuff that happens when you're scratch building. And you got to overcome, improvise, adapt. Like I said, Gunny Highway from the movie Heartbreak Ridge. That's what Marines do. Overcome, improvise, adapt. Anyway, I'm going to work on this a little bit more. We'll come back and I'll show you what the final resolution is. I might end up burying these because I don't like the width either now. So, all right, talk to you a little bit. Be right back. Some stuff happened that I didn't like again. So, on my last video, we talked about how the legs, once we had the legs on, that they were really wide. So wide, it was just, again, it looked funny. I didn't like it. So what I did is I came in here and I recut this whole thing, reshaped it, reshaped the egg. So now what we do is we have this one inserts a little bit closer, And then, of course, the second side also inserts. And it too is a little bit closer. So a little bit better. Still really wide. The legs are like way out there compared to the Gorkanaut in my Nemesis Dread Knight. But this is what we're going to do right here. This is final. So we're done. So as you can see, take a look in there. That's the structure, you know, the superstructure kind of all built. We moved this project forward even more. I worked on this pretty much all day. So I've got 4 or 5 hours into this easy. So we cut a hole here. That's where the arm is going to go. We're going to take another 25 millimeter base, but instead of this one going inside like that, I actually want this one sticking out. So it's going to go like this, sticking out. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put a ring around it with bolts. So we're going to make it look like this was some type of gear or structure or something that's in there that's encapsulated by a superstructure or a bolt. So there's going to be a ring, put some rivets, and then put little bolt heads on those rivets. And that'll look really cool. We cut the engine deck hole out yesterday. So we have the engine deck hole. So as we discussed, one of the ways to get rid of that curve and the interface between that curve and this flat is to actually embed it. So once we embed it, right, you won't see it. It'll look natural. That curve, it just hides that curve. Once again, we're going to go ahead and line this with the bolt structure, and we're going to put a box in here of this material. So we cut the top. So the top is off. I already cut a circle. So just like the bottom, we're going to put a circle on the top. So we're going to go like this. So this is the front of the Mega Dread. Right there. We're going to put a top on it. This top part is going to get the hatch and all the other little goodies. Then we're going to put the eye, the little Cyclops eye going across here. We're going to put a jaw, some jawbone. We're going to armor plate this up. So that's what we're going to do today. Then we're going to have to make the attaching points on this to here. And then as we discussed on the weapon, the gun, we wanted an import here and an ejection port on the bottom. That's not going to work now because you can't have an ejection port ejecting right on the feet. It might be able to work. I just mocked that up just first time. It looks like it'll work. So we can still have the ejection port at the bottom. So that's good to go. So today, like I said, we're going to start working on the engine deck and the arms. And we're going to get all this stuff in place. When I do, I'll come back and I'll show you what we've got done for day 3. So for the rings that are going to go around this portion here, basically we just go back to high school geometry or a drafting class. We get out our compass or protractor, whatever you want to use, and we just draw a circle 1 inch, because we know 25 millimeters is 1 inch, and then we go 3/16 after, and then the process is just simply cut it out with a with the razor blade or X-Acto. Cut the inner first, and then you can use a pair of scissors to cut the outer. Maybe a little bit too tight, so we have to get a little piece of sandpaper and go around the hole. But that's good enough for now, and then we'll cut that ring out with a pair of scissors. So basically, that's how you do it. So that ring is going to go right there, and then once you put rivets and bolts around it, it should look pretty cool. So we have one section here where the one arm is going to go, and this will go right in here. Then we will take the ring, and then the ring will go right around there. There's one thing I'm starting to find about this plastic that I don't like though, and that super glue for some reason is having a really tough time sticking and bonding to the surface. So one thing I want to show some of the younger folks that haven't scratch built a lot and maybe just learning. I'm not sure if you can see it in there. I'll get the light to shine off of it, but you see right in there, right in this area right here, what I've done is I've went in there, and it's called cross hatching or scuffing up the surface. So typically glues will not adhere to perfectly smooth surfaces. Sure, plastic parts, stuff like this, smooth, no problem. But some type of plastics or things that have like a wax coating or some type of non-stick type surface, Teflon, whatever, the glue will stick, it'll set up, and then as soon as you bend it or move it or hit it with a razor blade or try to put pressure on it, it just pops right off. So in order to get materials to stick much better and stronger, is you creating a rougher surface and more adhesion area in the area where you want to bond. And you always want to scuff up an area where you want to bond. In addition to that, I'm going to go, once most of this is done, I'm going to go in there with hot glue and a hot glue gun, because a hot glue gun, it's just a thicker type material, and it bonds as it's setting up or it cools. It's not as strong as super glue, but you're still going to get a good bond even with hot glue. So as soon as I'm done, making all these structures, I'm going to go back in there with hot glue. I'm going to take one of my stir sticks here and hot glue some areas, and I'm just going to smooth it out and make a fade surface, it's called. So anyway, just wanted to show you all that, and then this cross hatching technique to scuff up a surface to get it to bond better. So now let's continue. Okay, so another thing I want to show you is when this is mounted in here, it has an angle because it's curved. So when you plug the arm in, the gun arm, it ends up being at an angle. See that angle? So what you want is you actually want this to be flat. more like this. So in order to achieve that, what I did is I cut half moons. I'm going to put a half moon there, and I'm going to put another half moon there. So then when I put this here and glue it, it now makes that straighter. Then I'll put the ring over the top of that and you'll never see it. So I just wanted to get that in there too. So I'll be back. I'm going to fix this and then I'll be back. There you go. You can see the half moons are installed. So what it did is it helped to straighten this out. Right? So now it's more flat. It's more perpendicular to the deck. So now when you put this in here, it still has a slight bend, but not as much. So we're good to go. Okay, finally got through the biggest mess today. Got both arms on. I put some shoulder pads on the Mega Dread just to kind of show you guys what it's going to look like once you get shoulder pads on. It cleans up the look of the arms and where the arms attach. Those are the shoulder pads from the Gorkanaut. I'm going to go ahead and make some custom shoulder pads similar to what I have here on my Nemesis Dread Knight conversion. As you can tell, I now have them roughly the same size. So pick him up, give you a good size here. Pick him up, give you a good size. So pretty close. So tomorrow I'll go ahead and when I fire up the video I'll explain what I've done. But I'm going to go ahead and take a break for the day. I've put a lot of hours into this just to get it to this point. But I wanted to see what it looks like with some arms standing up by itself, some legs, couple shoulder pads. I think we're looking really good, and I think we're on our way. I think this is going to be pretty outstanding once I put armor plates, put the little orc eye, or the little thing that, you know, that goes back and forth like a Cylon from Battlestar Galactica, put, you know, the little visor. Still have the engine deck to do. I got to put the engine deck in. That'll be tomorrow. Start the top with the hatch. That'll be tomorrow. I'll give you a shot of what I did on the arm real quick. But yeah, guys, if you like this, like I keep saying, please support the channel. Like, subscribe, hit that notification button. Tell all your friends.